Hello friends, my name is Leigh and I create videos about photography as an art and as a lifestyle. The holiday season is upon us, so many of us will be giving and receiving gifts. Today we're going to discuss the November edition of fantastic gifts for photographers. We've got cameras, editing software, and accessories. Of course, I will add links to all of the items in the description of this video. First, I want to thank the companies sponsoring this video: Skylum, Zhiyun, omsystem, and LUMIX. These are all brands and things that Raymond and I use and love, so I'm excited to share them with you. Let's begin with editing software. This is super special new software for portraits. So for those photographers who love to capture photos of people, Skylum Aperty is for them, or for you if you're shopping for yourself. Here's the thing. I don't want to spend a ton of time at my computer editing my images. And especially when I'm editing self-portraits, like I'm about to do, I want the tools to make myself look like the best version of me. And that is where Aperty comes in. You can use it in combination with Lightroom and Photoshop and also Photos on your Mac, or you can use it as a standalone app. You can even do batch editing. I captured this photo of myself today before I put on any makeup so that you can see how much you can do in the software. First, you have some standard editing sliders here, like exposure and contrast, things like that. These are especially helpful if you are using this as a standalone application like I am today. But then we have the portrait-specific tools. The first thing I like to do is smooth out my skin a little bit. In other editing software, the skin smoothing feature is often too aggressive to my liking. Even when I'm smoothing skin out in editing, I still want a natural look. That's what I've been the most impressed with Aperty. You have individual controls for overall smoothing, blemish removal, and even freckles. You can see that I've also minimized the dark circles under my eyes, and I can use the makeup tools to approximate lipstick and blush. Aperty is using thousands of points that it has mapped out behind the scenes to figure out the placement of these things, and for some of the other tools in here too. I'm not going to dive into the other tools too much here, but I will do a full video using these soon, so make sure you're subscribed. This section of the software is absolutely wild to me. You can relight the portrait. So often I'm working outdoors where I can't control all of the lighting, even if I have a speed light with me. Here, you can choose multiple points to add light. I mentioned those thousands of data points a moment ago. This is a portion of the software where you can really tell that the software has mapped out my face and is adding light as it would be seen in real life. It's amazing. There are even presets here. I actually spent only a few minutes in the software and took myself from this to this. So efficient. Aperty was just released earlier this month, so it may be a completely new and very exciting tool to the photographer that you are shopping for. I will link to it in the description so that you can learn even more about it and also purchase it as a gift for yourself or for your favorite photographer. Now let's talk about a couple of accessories that would make wonderful gifts. You may have heard of Zhiyun. They are one of the top gimbal manufacturers in the business, and they also offer other accessories for photographers and videographers, like this light. First though, you may have seen me show off this Zhiyun Cinepeer Weebill 3E earlier this year. I'll link to my full video about it in the description, but as a quick primer, this is an electronic gimbal. It balances my camera so that I can capture smooth video footage while moving. A lot of cameras have stabilization built into the body or the lens, which does help to stabilize footage, but a gimbal is like that on steroids. I use mine all of the time here in the studio or out in the field to capture smooth and steady video. This is the gimbal I chose for myself because it is relatively compact and it is the easiest gimbal to use that I have ever experienced. It's fantastic. If your photographer has been dabbling in video, a gimbal will allow them to take their video creation to the next level. Zhiyun also recently sent me this light that I also think would be useful, but Also a really fun gift. This is the Cinepeer C100 RGB LED light. I'm always interested in different types of lighting and how they can be used to creatively illuminate my subject, whether that be a person or something else. It is a continuous light, so it can be used for photo or video. You can use it as a standard studio light, or you can make use of the RGB function and go wild. It even has several options for special effects modes. And it has a built-in battery that can run up to nearly an hour at 100% brightness. And you can connect multiple lights together to increase the power. Plus, you can connect to an app and control all of the lights from your phone. I had not used a stick light before this, and I'm now excited to do more with it. There are even additional modifiers that you can add on. I'm thinking that I wouldn't mind having another one or two of these as my studio lights. I really like how compact they are. And one more thing actually about both of these Zhiyun items, they come packaged in their own storage cases. I particularly appreciate that because it keeps things neat and tidy when I'm traveling or I'm not using them and need to put them away. I will link to both the gimbal and the light in the description of this video. On to the first of two camera bodies I want to show you today. This is the omsystem OM1 Mark II. This is an interchangeable lens camera with a 4/3 sensor and the micro 4/3 lens mount. The OM1 Mark II is omsystem's flagship camera body, meaning that it is at the top end. This guy is incredibly flexible and capable for all different types of photography. I do have a full video about this camera, which I will link in the description of this video, but one thing that makes this particular body stand out is its speed and responsiveness. It is great for wildlife photography. I've used it with a couple of different omsystem super telephoto lenses in different situations. Now, why this over any other wildlife setup? Size, while maintaining really good autofocus and speed. You do have different options for animal detection autofocus, which works very well. And while the body itself is relatively small, it's not so much smaller than other mirrorless options. However, the lenses are smaller. Because they are engineered for the 4/3 sensor, they are able to be made more compact. This means that I can carry them further and for a longer length of time. And that means more photos, whether that be the camera around my neck or in my camera bag. I know a lot of my viewers struggle with back or shoulder issues, so a more compact setup like this allows them to do wildlife photography, which they simply wouldn't have access to if they were using a camera with a larger sensor and larger lenses. And while size is an important factor here, the camera is also wonderfully capable for any other type of photography. I've used it for landscapes and all sorts of other things. This camera even has some really special features like in-camera focus stacking, starry night autofocus, live view neutral density shooting, the list goes on. If your photographer wants a new camera, omsystem is absolutely worth a look. If I only had the OM1 Mark II and a whole slew of lenses that are available in the micro 4/3 mount, I would be completely satisfied. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of great camera options out there right now. I'm about to talk about another one, but the combination of size and capability here is absolutely worth a look, especially if your photographer or you is looking for something a bit lighter. So I will link to the body and a few lenses that I used with it in the description of this video. In the first 2024 holiday gift guide video I shared last month, I mentioned the LUMIX S5 II, and I want to talk about it again. If you are looking for your favorite photographer is looking for their first camera, or just their next camera, and they want a full frame sensor, the S5 II is the camera that I have recommended the most in the last year or so. It is highly capable, it is reasonably priced, and you can make use of any L-mount lens out there. I own two S5 II bodies along with L-mount lenses from LUMIX, Sigma, and Leica, along with a few from independent lens manufacturers. I've been a photographer and a YouTube creator for a very long time, so I've seen and used a lot of cameras. We are in very good times with every camera being introduced, being highly capable. But where I am seeing camera brands set themselves apart is in the special features. I mentioned a few for the OM1 Mark II a moment ago. LUMIX is also doing this, and LUMIX is continuing to add features to their cameras even after they've been released. For example, the S5 II got a recent firmware update for free that added several new features. The reason that I bring this up is that not all camera companies do this. You might get a firmware update to fix bugs, but not necessarily to release entirely new capabilities for free. Many companies will simply add those capabilities to the next iteration of the camera body and then make you purchase a new camera to get them. So if you plan to keep your camera for a long time, going with a company that provides meaningful updates helps you to keep your camera longer. So one of the updates in this most recent firmware is the addition of compatibility with the LUMIX Lab app. You can use it as a remote trigger. You can quickly transfer photos and videos from your S5 II to your device. And those things are great for those of us who like to share on social media and maybe film and take photos of ourselves. But this app also provides you with some editing tools. And I love that. It's so efficient to do it all right in the app. But the super duper cool thing is that you can not only save those edits as a LUT to use next time, you can even send that LUT back over through the app to your camera to use for future photos as you are capturing them. Wild, right? And you can even download LUTs from other photographers and use them the same way. This is very cool. I said earlier how I don't like spending a lot of time on my computer doing all of the editing. This feature of really customizing how my photos look in the camera, maybe having LUTs for each situation like landscapes, portraits, for a film-like look, it could save me so much time. Of course, I will link to the S5 II and a couple of my favorite lenses in the description of this video, along with a few of the videos that I have created using this camera. Like I said a minute ago, we are in good times for photography. There are so many accessories that we can use to enhance creativity and explore our own unique style. The cameras and lenses these days are more advanced than anything I could have imagined when I first really started getting into photography in my 20s. But the items that I mentioned today and in my holiday list last month are a good place for you to start when looking at gifts for photographers in 2024. I've used all of these things, and I don't know a photographer who wouldn't be happy to receive any of it. What about you though? Are you a photographer hoping to receive something for your creative passion this holiday season? Or what are you gifting? Let us know in the comments. Remember, there are links to all of the things that I have mentioned, along with links to some videos that I've made using them in the description. Thank you again to the sponsors of this video, and thank you for watching.